Hey guys, Greg here from Oathbound Gaming coming back at you with another game. Today we're looking at Gatewalkers. This is a bit of a demo slash beta, so don't judge it as like the final released product. I'm sure it'll get a whole ton of updates. So we're going to just jump in here. This game is a 4-player action RPG with survival elements in there. That means your hunger, thirst, hypothermia, cold type stuff. Pretty cool, interesting. I don't even want to call it a concept because it's more than that. So here's a character creation, pretty basic. I hope this gets expanded upon. Personally, I'm not huge on character creation, but it's always nice to see them offer that because I know a lot of you guys like to get in there and spend an hour customizing your character, especially in MMOs, right? But this game's cool. It's got a lot of crafting in it where you craft your gear and it's got WASD movement and not click to move, so that might be appealing to some of you guys. And then your left and right click is two of your attacks. Two of your many attacks. Skills. So here in our inventory we have obviously our slots for our gear and weaponry. And we have our tool belt where I'm unequipping this just to show you. You just equip your skinning, your axe, your mining pick, and your sickle. You equip them so you can harvest stuff. And there's a lot of that. At the bottom we have this is the crafting list, one of the crafting menus, where you can craft like your empty water bag, campfire, stuff like that. But then there's a whole ton more where you go craft gear at like anvils and woodworking benches and looms and a whole ton of more stuff to craft. Here, the bottom buttons at the bottom, if you take a look, if you click that middle circle, you get this passive skills window. And these passive skills are earned by spending points in the progress tree here. So this is a whole ton of unlocks from crafting recipes for weapons like 2-hand hammers, 1-hand hammers, dual daggers. Sleeping bag can be upgraded to a tent. You can get better gathering stuff like better sickles, better axes. Like I said, there's dual daggers, there's axes, swords, 1 and 2 hands, staves, capes, all types of armor, heavy, light, medium. And the interesting thing about this, I'm going to invite some friends now. The interesting things about the gear and like weaponry and armor and stuff is they directly impact what skills you're going to have. If you look at the bottom right of the skill tree, you'll see like a sword, a shield, a helm, and chest. That means when you equip those pieces, that slot's going to fill with a skill that's provided by that piece of equipment. So if I have a heavy chest piece, I'll get a skill. And then I have a light chest piece, that'll give me a different skill. So you actually get skills based off the gear you're wearing. Pretty interesting stuff. I actually do like it. So we're waiting for the last player to show up, but while we wait, we'll look at this one more time. The charge skill slot, there's that purple bar there at the bottom. That fills up from these orbs that drop when you're fighting enemies. And depending on what things you unlock in that big progress tree, will determine what you get here in the passive skills, and you put them in that circle, and you get passive upgrades. But you also get a usable ability that's used when that purple bar is filled. The one I usually go for is the 4-second invulnerability for my team and I. So we can't take damage for 4 seconds, and that's actually quite helpful. So I'm pulling out equipment, pulling out some gear, and you'll see my skills now changed at the bottom right because I have a hammer and shield. The shield's giving me one ability on Q, and the left and right click are provided by the weapon I have. Kind of just messing around right now, messing around with the weaponry. You'll see how it works. And then space is kind of like a dash, but you can get things that change that. So like when you dash, there's like an explosion at the end. So here's our bow. Obviously the skills have changed now that I equipped the bow. That's a bit of like a dash backwards while shooting an arrow to kind of like distance yourself from an enemy. This is a staff. You're throwing out little bolts, AoEs. That's an AoE to kind of like keep enemies away from you. And then there's different staves as well. It's not just like, oh, this is it. Later on, one of our team members gets like a lightning type of staff where it summons like bolts of lightning in front of him, and then like a gust of air comes, he pushes it, and the lightning travels forward. Like, it's pretty cool. It's impressive the amount of customization you can get in this. Yeah, and the weapons feel more like an action style game rather than like a Path of Exile or Diablo type stuff. Like, not that that's bad. It's just different than this. This is more like action where like each click feels like a swing and you're deciding every single attack rather than just like hold and it'll keep attacking, and it just feels less, I don't know, feels less you, like you're not in control of every action. But this feels good. It works for this game. World Scanner. So this is where you go to pick the level you're going to play. At the bottom, you'll see tiers, and that's like a filter. You can filter your available worlds. And since we're just starting out, we only have one here. This is the tutorial one. But eventually you'll get worlds that'll be filtered there by world size and tiers, which is, the difficulty levels. And tiers is not necessarily a difficulty level. It is, but there's also additional difficulties on the tier. So it could be like a tier 4 normal map or like difficult map, and you can go there, and when you progress through the game, you'll have a ton of worlds available. So you can be like, I don't want to go do the main quest right now. I'm going to go do some of the optional areas and farm more gear and go see which secrets lie there and what bosses we could fight on this optional map, so I can get some materials needed to unlock more stuff on the progress tree and craft myself a two-hand sword. I want to try that before I proceed with the main quest. You can do that. There's plenty of optional ways to play the game, which is cool. So this is the tutorial area, and I'm going to show you. I'm just going to start off by doing a little gathering, showing you some of the first enemies in the game. And tips kind of pop up on the screen as you play, which is good. A lot of them were really helpful for me to get, familiarized with the game systems. So chop down a tree, pick up a glowing mushroom. One of the things I would like to see is the trees falling down one day. Maybe they add that. I don't know. Not a big deal, but it's just a nice touch. Even if they fall down and then like splinter and disappear then. I don't know, it just looks nicer. So some of these little monkey bats just got killed by my guild members. I'm going to show you in just a second my fight against some of them. And they are the easiest enemies in the game, so do not judge the game by the lack of difficulty here. One of my guild members was like, this game's too easy. I was like, it's the first enemy. Take it easy, man. We'll get there. And then like a minute later or so, we ran into tougher enemies. It was pretty funny. But the game definitely starts off super easy, but it's good. That's the way it should start. And it progresses to a more difficult state. So I killed those dudes really easy. You can skin them, get like meat from them, hides from some enemies. These guys give like monkey bat ears or something like that, I think. Let's see, it should pop up in a second. Crude hide and then monkey bat ear. So you can make monkey bat ear soup. Gross. And one of the things we did learn is when you loot stuff, if your team members are nearby, they also get the same loot, which is nice when stuff's a little more rare. Like you find like rare materials, you can kind of share it just by having your team members close to you and be like, hey, come down here before I loot this so we can share it. This is, again, just the if I could talk, the tutorial area, and it gets much more difficult. Action kicks up, a lot more fights, but the game doesn't completely like Path of Exile you, where it's, the point of the game is constant fights. Like it's not as fast paced as that, and the reason for that is because there's also survival thrown in there. Like you spend a little time crafting, you spend some time getting your campfire down and cooking some food and worrying about your hunger and thirst a little bit. And then in addition to that, if you take a look at the left side of the screen, you'll see the hunger, thirst, and brain icon. The brain icon, sanity. Sanity will go down during nighttime, which I thought was a cool feature. During nighttime, if your sanity reaches 0, these like shadow demon type of enemies start spawning and coming after you. And you got to get your sanity back up because they can be quite difficult. And one of the things you can do is craft a campfire and kind of just wait out the nighttime around the campfire and use that time to cook and stuff, which is what we normally do. But one of the other options is you can carry a torch. But your skills come from your weapon, right? So you can't have your weapon out while you have your while you have your torch. So you don't have your weapons or your skill, you just have a torch to hit with, and it's pretty weak. And you'll still run into your normal enemies on the map at night. So you might find it difficult to do. But it's a co-op game, so someone can use a torch to kind of generate light for everyone around while the rest of the team, handles the bulk of the fighting. Another option for nighttime light is the glowing mushroom soup, I believe it's called. It's on my number 8 down there. If you consume that, you kind of like glow, and you can kind of, stock up on them and go out of your way to try to farm them some extra on maps, go out of your way to get them. So later, if you want to progress during night and not really stop, you can just have a bulk amount of those and consume them. But don't stock up too much because there is a carry weight limit, so you can't just have infinite loot on you because there's a carry weight limit. One of the things I did notice about this game is it feels a little choppy at times. And later I turned on my FPS in the video and I noticed I'm getting about 60 frames. It's not locked to 60 either. It goes above it. And I thought that was surprising. Real quick, on this gameplay screen, you'll see like the game camera follow the mouse cursor. You can disable that. Camera shake, you can turn that off. You can have interactable icons, not icons, interactable things like your mining things, your herbs, your trees glow a little bit and get like a blue outline so you can see them easier. You can turn that on. I do that later on because I've realized it's pretty helpful. Like in that bush, there's some mushrooms. It would highlight that easier for me. So I'd be able to see that a lot easier. And then what was I going to say? Oh, the FPS issue. I noticed the game kind of runs kind of poorly for the system I have. I have a 3090 with a 5950X. Humble brag, I promise. Humble, though. It's a pretty high-end system, and to be pulling around 60 to 70 frames, that was a little surprising for a game like this, so I'm really hoping to see that improve a little bit. In addition to that, there are some balance concerns, I guess. Like, you'll pick up a weapon and be like, or craft a weapon, you don't pick them up. You craft a weapon and you'll just say, wow, this is pretty bad compared to what I had before. And that's a little disappointing, so I hope they definitely do some balancing before the game releases. But I gotta say, I'm loving this game. I'm impressed by it. I really like what they have here. And oh, one last thing, one last con. Those red circles, sometimes you'll get out of them and you'll just still get hit. And I don't know if it's like a latency thing, like, oh, I got out, but a second later the game thinks I'm still in there, or if it's just the AoE is bigger than the circle looks. I haven't found that out, but there's some abilities that definitely need to be tweaked or something. But the ping is quite low, 21 ping to the server, so there's no lag there. But I don't know, those are the only real cons I have. The game is extremely fun, but you know what? Let's go skip ahead to more heavy combat stuff so you guys can see what the game is all about. Let's go. Alright, we're on one of the further worlds, and it's just turning nighttime here. So you see it's turning nighttime, and personally I think the world actually looks really nice in nighttime. It gets dark, the fog kind of rolls in a little bit, and it really sets the mood quite well. So we had a team member pull out a torch here, and I consumed one of the glowing mushroom things, so you see the light kind of radiating from me a little bit, and that light also is provided to allies nearby. We move on to go fight some enemies, and these enemies are definitely a little stronger. They're nothing crazy yet, but they're just substantially stronger than the starting enemies you saw previously. So we're getting there. The difficulty starts to ramp up, and some of the bosses they're quite difficult, some of them. So it gets up there. It gets to the point where like you want to spend some extra time, you know? They'll be like, oh man, I really want to get that next armor because it's starting to get really tough, which is good. That's how it should be. So we're roaming around at night, and you got to be careful of that sanity stuff because those shadow enemies are quite tough. I haven't found out whether or not they're worth kind of like intentionally spawning and farming. I thought about it, but haven't tried that yet. So it's some hyenas, young hyenas, and I'm playing a tanky type of build. You'll notice the skills at the bottom right have increased. I equipped some stuff. I got some new stuff, and one of my abilities is on left shift. It's an aura that comes out around me that generates like a lot of threat on nearby enemies, so it pulls enemies in towards me, and it's good to keep your team members safe, and it keeps them throwing damage abilities without having to kite forever, and they can concentrate on just dishing out that damage. So it's kind of nice to see a game like this support playing a tanky type of build. Like I said, though, there's definitely a concern with balance for some weaponry. Like I got a two-hand axe, and it's all about like applying bleeds. It was just so bad. I was trying to justify it to myself. I was like, well, if you could stack bleeds to max, maybe it's good. it's just not, you know. And then some of the staves seem a lot weaker than others, even though they're on like the same tier. Like they're supposed to be considered somewhat the same strength. Some are just substantially better. Like the archer does a whopping amount of damage, like a lot. And it's just, I hope to see that that get altered. I hope the devs agree that the game is not really all that balanced right now. There's some outliers there, and I hope to see that get adjusted a little bit. But we'll see. I'll definitely keep you guys updated in our Discord about any patches and such. And if you're not in our Discord, join us. And also sub and hit that little bell icon and all that good stuff. If you like this type of content. So we're still just gathering and stuff, and I wanted to show you some tougher enemies like a boss and stuff. We're coming up on one soon, so I definitely want to show you that. So hyena here, down. I'm going to keep progressing, and you notice some of the areas, they get a little less naturey, and it's cool. There's like ruins and stuff you can come across, and they got different stuff. I just killed like a little squirrel dude. A squib is his name. Poor dude. That's the boss right there. That was the boss I just one-shot. Crazy, man. You gotta be careful of that squib. I'm kidding, obviously. We're getting towards the boss. There's some tougher enemies here. These, like robotic crocodile leg dudes. I don't know what to call them. But here, this is kind of cool. It's a puzzle. You gotta like complete the directions with the arrows. Like you use your WASD to input the directions it's showing to deactivate not only the spawn of the enemies, but to kind of progress. And every time you get hit trying to do it, it'll interrupt you. So that's one of the beautiful things about being a tank, is you can be like, well, screw that. I'm gonna tank the enemies and not let them interrupt the person that's doing it. So we said, all right, forget this. Someone else go do this, and I'll tank everything. But they try to rush that person to interrupt them. So Harley went on there, finished the puzzle while we fought them, and we were able to disable that and continue on. So, and that opens the door, disables the spawn, and we're coming up on the boss area soon. So I want to let this section of the video play out so you guys can see that, and then we'll go a little bit further. I'll take a look at some other different stuff so you can see what it's like. Ooh, let's go to a snow area after this. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm worrying a little bit about food, just taking some food, and same thing here. We got to do that puzzle, and we're not gonna try the same thing as we did last time. We're gonna not try to have me complete it. We'll have the tank go ahead and someone else deal with the puzzle. There we go. Really cool though, the way the team works together. You'll see like a binding type of, I don't know, chains, like mystical chains that were on the enemies that bind them and immobilize them. Cool stuff. One of the casters is doing it, so it helps with kiting if you want. And you'll see like the basic heal kit I have equipped there. It equips in one of your slots. And on C at the bottom right, that's a heal you can throw on the floor and sit in it and keep regenerating health. So it's nice to prepare and craft a lot of healing supplies, especially for the boss fights. Like, you definitely need them. Plus on F I have a heal myself that heals the whole group. So there's some good team-based abilities too. That's a dead end. Let's go up here and find out what's waiting for us. Ooh, what could that be? Definitely not a boss or anything, right? He's a boss. This is one of the bosses. I think this is like the second boss in the game, I believe. And the abilities the bosses use are pretty cool. You see like there's a straight line attack that, you know, you definitely shouldn't stand in that. You want to avoid that. He does conical attacks like that, so, you know, if you don't know what that means, that's like, you know, right in front of him in a cone. Keep that you want to try to keep them facing away from your team members. A huge volley of explosives that you have to stay out of, and there's burning ground, and so the bosses definitely get abilities, and these are the nightmares that come out when you lose your sanity. So night started while we were in this fight, and now nightmares came out. This is the things that you got to watch out for and try to keep your sanity up. So someone placed down a campfire so we can kind of be near it while fighting. We definitely picked a way more difficult way to do this. We kind of should have waited for night to come and go before we initiated the boss. But heck, this makes it more fun, right? So we had nightmares to deal with. That got thrown in there. Still have to watch out for this dude's abilities. One of the cool things is you can interrupt the enemy. I actually just did that there. And you can interrupt some of his abilities that he's like channeling. Like later, some guy channels like a flamethrower for a while. And you can be like, stop that! And stun him. And actually stun a boss with a well-placed stun. And you can interrupt some deadly abilities that they do. A dash is pretty cool though, right? You can use a dash to get in and out of, well, dash, hopefully not in, but just out of deadly attacks that bosses throw at you. Ooh. Trying to use an item here. So stamina is real low at the bottom left, and that's how you use your abilities. And if you get a food buff, you know, you can regenerate your stamina a lot quicker. I'm trying to get that while I'm kind of soloing this boss while the team is fighting other things on that end. Luckily I'm the tanky boy. I can kind of hold him. My damage isn't great though. And eventually we finally take him down. And we get loot. And one of the things we get are these fragments, like these ancient fragments, and that's how you can get more passive tree points, so you can unlock more stuff to craft and, you know, progress. So that's how you that's one of your ways to progress, one of them. The main way, I would say, though, because there's no experience in leveling in this game, so it's kind of like all based on gear. So you got to make sure that you're always progressing and concentrating on your craft and unlocking new equipment before you tackle things that might be a little too tough. So here, once we're done with that boss, we can use that. Objective completed, and they want us to go back now. So you kind of can just teleport out. Once you're done with the main quest, just hit P, and your character will put his hand up in the air like that and start porting out. You don't have to wait for the main quest, but then there you can choose to go with the party or alone. And at the top right, you'll see it'll show like checkboxes like, hey, leave expedition, expedition, if I can talk. Do you want to leave? And they'll have to hit yes or no. And when that time wears off, if not everyone votes, it'll just do the majority vote and pour people out. And then at the end screen, you'll get to see the damage done, taken, all that stuff. And then we'll go to the next screen, and we'll come back home. And then you'd want to take your whatever you got, your materials and stuff, to come back, and you can begin crafting and processing your stuff, like smelting ore and getting everything ready. So this is a passive I unlocked from the skill tree there. So if I kind of equip that, it'll give me something. It depends what the passive does. So that's a charge skill slot. So I go over here, and you'll see that green one down there is actually a passive you can equip, and eventually you unlock those locked icons there. So when you equip them, you get plus 100 to shock defense for this one. Bam, now I have 100 shock. And that's completely passive and always active. The other thing this does is the skill. You'll see passive skill leader. All allies in a 4-meter radius become invulnerable to attacks for 4 seconds. Removes all CC from the caster. That's the ability that you can use when the purple bar at the bottom fills up, and you hit X by default. The passives are always active in there, though. And again, you unlock the stuff in there from the main passive skill tree, the passive progression tree. And one thing I'm showing here is that shock resistance there. On the right side, I'll show you in a second, you'll see that at shock damage defense, you'll see it's actually going up I don't know if you can see the text, but it's going up and down as I remove this skill. So it's active 24/7. So it's another way to kind of progress. You unlock those and strengthen your character in different ways. Increase defenses, regen, damage, whatever it may be, depending on how you choose to build your character in the progress tree. So you'll see here when I scroll over that Warhammer, on the left side, it'll actually show you the green icon on there, and it'll say, you know, that's part of that passive, that green lion face dude, and that's how you unlock more things in there, by progressing to that side of the tree and getting more things in that. You'll get more passives under that green section. So here we have back at the base, the furnace and anvil, so you can spend some time here definitely working on crafting new gear. Like I'm going to craft a stone ring here because I have an open ring slot. Bam, extra stamina now. That's the gear I already crafted and I'm wearing. You see, I've already done this before. Kind of skipped that part because I wanted to show you the combat. But there you go. Lots of crafting to do. And then they're kind of like sectioned off, like the woodworkings on the other side if you want to make bows and such. And there's lighter armor and different ways to make gear, so it's not always ore. And one of the cool things is you just kind of trade amongst the group. Be like, oh, you need more leather? Give me some iron and take some of this leather, you know? So over here I'm making some leather now, because I still need leather to make some other equipment, but some other armor types will take more and less iron. So here we go. I'm going to craft these boots that I now have the materials for. When I craft the boots, you're going to notice on space the skill is changing. So the boots are giving a dash, and then when I equip the new ones, it gives a savage charge. So now that charge has changed, and now there's a bit of an explosion afterwards, so it does damage. I like it. I think it's a cool system. But alright, let's move on. Let's go check out the frost area a little bit. Alright, snow area. That's different, right? We got some Yetis running around here. It's cold, both in real life and in this game right now. And one of the things you do have to worry about is temperature. If you take a look at the left side, you'll see like the thermometer things there now. A good cape, like an upgraded cape on your back, will help with your temperature a lot. So your armor type doesn't matter. It's more of the cloak. And then of course there's like, you know, fire. If you put down a campfire and stuff, it'll definitely help. And here I'm messing with the highlight thing. If I hit Alt by default, you can toggle whether or not that if you want to tap Alt and everything will just highlight, or whether you want to hold Alt to highlight things. You could just toggle it, or toggle or press, like which option you prefer. At the top you see a Blizzard Elemental. Looks like there's a boss nearby that his name's starting to pop up. So we're gonna go fight us a Blizzard Elemental. Kind of a mini boss situation that I think Harley went and aggroed across the map, and we're gonna go help her in a second. But she apparently got away from it. Gotta cut down trees. Alright. So we're moving on towards the boss. We're gonna go fight him. You see it's actually a quest on the bottom right. It says defeat Blizzard Elemental. Here we go. Stunned him, which is cool. Ooh, that's a big AoE. That's pretty cool. He sends out ice in three triangle type of conical attacks. Bosses are really interesting. I really do like the mechanics that they incorporate. You have to really dodge their abilities. I think I end up getting hit by one of the triangles in this, and I'll show you what happens. You can also see on the left side my temperature starting to really drop while fighting him, so I have to be careful because if that gets to the bottom I will definitely die. A blizzard is coming, so a blizzard's going to happen during this fight, and it's really going to mess up our temperatures. You see the screen starting to get a little frosty. Well, My group members built a fire up at the top. That ends up hitting me, and I get frozen there. But luckily the boss dies right around the same time. That's the blizzard effect right there, where you see the gust of wind kind of come across the screen. So we definitely want to stay near the fire during this, and you'll see the temperature start to come back up while we safely huddle around our fire. And then, of course, as always, we use some time to craft roasted meat. But yeah, if cooking's your thing, you can try to target the rare mats and cook some of the higher end buff things that help regen your shield and stuff. And that's one other thing I guess I should touch on at the bottom right. You'll see health and shield. Shield is kind of like your main defense, and that's not shield like the equipped shield. That's everyone has shield. At the top left you'll see like the party members' shields and their health. When shield is gone, you'll start losing health, and health does not come back unless you rest at a tent or campfire. Sorry, not a campfire. Tent or bedroll sleeping bag, you know? Campfire you don't sleep at. That's how you get your health back. Shield is more of like your consumables, your heal potions, your skills. They're bringing back your shield, and that's usually the main thing you lose. However, I did notice there are some enemies that will do damage to your health directly and bypass your shield. So you do have to keep an eye on that. Make sure you don't fight those guys too long without going to sleep and recovering that health. So that's pretty much it for this game right now. There's more I could show you, but I don't want to make this video too long. While this game runs in the background, you can watch the rest of the video. I'm just going to talk to you guys about how I feel about the game. Like I said, there's some balance issues. There's definitely some weapons they're on the same tier as others, but they're just substantially better. One of them being the two-hand axe, which is so weak I couldn't even justify using it. It's all about afflicting bleeds and stuff, which doesn't make it bad. The bleed thing, it just wasn't worth it. The damage was like less than the one-hander and shield I'm using, and I'm tankier with it. It just didn't make any sense. So balance is definitely a concern. Performance is a bit of an issue, and I noticed on the Frost world, it actually performs a lot better than on like the naturey grass forest world. So I hope to see the performance improved. And then besides that, we also have no permadeath. That's more of a request. It's not really an issue. I'd love to see a permadeath, like a hardcore mode, where if you die, you're out. I know that's not for everyone. I'm probably in the minority for that. But I love that in ARPGs, so I'd love to see a permadeath kind of thrown in this game. But overall, I really, really enjoy this game. I think it's great. I think it's a good co-op game. It's something a little different, an ARPG with survival elements. As you guys may have seen my last Epic video. If you haven't checked that out, I love ARPGs. I like Path of Exile. I love Last Epic, the way that's shaping up. And I love this game. I really do. I'm excited to see the updates. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on every single patch that they release. We'll be talking about it in our Discord. Join our Discord. And I will absolutely be picking this game up when it fully releases. So that has been the review of Gatewalkers. I hope you guys like this first look at it. We'll make other videos on it for sure, and we will absolutely be streaming this. We'll be live streaming this constantly. Well, not constantly. Quite often, I guess, we'll be playing this until we kind of complete it. So please join us for our live streams on our channel as well. Subscribe, hit that little bell for future videos. And also, Friday nights, tune in. We're going to start doing some giveaways. I believe Harley came up with the name Friday Night Freebies, which is a horrible name, but it works. Kind of rolls off the tongue, so I guess that's what we're going with. Friday Night Freebies. If you don't like it, blame Harley if you ever see her in the Discord. So the guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you enter that RTX 3080 giveaway at oathboundgaming.com, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Skedat!